Welcome to this meeting called by the British Group for the Study of the Juche Korean Friendship Association of the UK and Association for the Study of Songun Politics of the UK, which has been supported by other KFA branches in Europe. We're here marking the December anniversaries of the DPRK, but in particular, we are here to mark the sad anniversary of the 11th year since the great leader Comrade Kim Jong-il departed from this life. And also we will be marking the 105th anniversary of the birth of Madam Kim Jong-suk, the anti-Japanese Revolutionary War heroine. And this is my presentation about Comrade Kim Jong-il. The purpose of this presentation is not to mourn Comrade Kim Jong-il, but to celebrate his life and at the same time propagate the truth about the Democratic People's Republic of Korea with the aim of increasing solidarity with it. A posting on Twitter and Instagram by Turkish KFA comrades reminded me of a particular aspect of the life of Comrade Kim Jong-il. They had posted a picture of Comrade Kim Jong-il cooking food while wearing a chef's hat. Now, this picture is actually rarely seen outside of the DPRK, and it's actually only been made known to the outside world, I think, in recent years. Now, I do remember back in September 2016, when I'd gone one night to the coffee shop in Changjong Street with my guide. We walked up the stairs to the coffee shop. My guide smiled beautifully at the big picture of Comrade Kim Jong-il cooking, which I had never seen before. My guide's smile was totally natural and unaffected. There was no way that it was rehearsed. The imperialists like to call the DPRK a dictatorship or totalitarian and claim that people are made to do things by force or compulsion. But there is no one forcing my guide to smile. People can be made to do many things by force, but smiling is not one of them. And I would just add to this, when I've been in the Memorial Palace, the Palace of Sun, I've witnessed the grief of sometimes of my own guides and other Korean people there, and say these things are in no way forced. The picture of Comrade Kim Jong-il cooking reflected the truly humble and modest nature of Comrade Kim Jong-il, a man who, as a student, participated in the rebuilding of Pyongyang and had worked at lathe number 26 of the Pyongyang textile machinery factory. Comrade Kim Jong-il was often dressed in the same simple clothes as the Korean working people. He wore the same parka for many years. He was a true people's leader who once said that flowers should be made to bloom on a rock if it was for the people. Comrade Kim Jong-il put forward the slogan, "We serve the people," which reflected the profound people-orientated outlook of Comrade Kim Jong-il, and also embodied the Juche idea, which postulates that the masses are the masters of the revolution of construction and that everything should serve them. Even when the arduous March period in the DPRK, even during the arduous March period in the DPRK during the 1990s, Comrade Kim Jong-il made sure that soya milk was supplied to children. And also, as far as I know, not a single school in the DPRK closed during that period. Comrade Kim Jong-il had passed away on the morning of the 17th of December 2011, while giving on-the-spot guidance to key economic sectors in the DPRK. From his early days to the end of his life, Comrade Kim Jong-il visited more than 14,290 units across the country, travelling the long distance of 669 844 kilometers, which is the equivalent of going around the Earth 17 times. Even in the last year of his life, Comrade Kim Jong-il continued with an intense pace of field guidance despite health problems and warnings from his doctor. The train that Comrade Kim Jong-il passed away on in 2017 can be seen in the Palace of the Sun and is kept in its original state with Comrade Kim Jong-il's papers, glasses and computer on the desk, just as they were before he passed away. I remember visiting the Palace of the Sun once, and my guide said with emotion in her voice that it was as if Comrade Kim Jong-il had just gone to take a rest and was going to come back. Comrade Kim Jong-il visited all kinds of places, from army units to farms and factories. In 2017, our delegation visited the same simple two-story farmer's house at Mingyok Cooperative Farm near Sariwon City, which had been visited by Comrade Kim Jong-il in 2006. It was the simple home of an ordinary farmer rather than a high-level official or VIP. Comrade Kim Jong-il gave guidance in all weathers. In the blazing sun or in the depths of winter, he went down mines and other dangerous places. There is a famous picture of Comrade Kim Jong-il descending into the Komdok mine in 1975. He visited Panmunjom, the place where the US imperialists and People's Korea stand in confrontation with each other at gunpoint. And he visited there a number of times, including in 1996. He had no fear of the enemy. The security of the people and the socialist system of the DPRK was defended by Comrade Kim Jong-il. In some countries, socialism was abandoned, leading to mass unemployment, insecurity and poverty. However, Comrade Kim Jong-il ensured that DPRK did not go down this disastrous route, but instead carry forward the ideas of President Kim Il-sung and continued along the road of Juche, the road of socialism. Some expected that after President Kim Il-sung passed away in 1994, the DPRK would adopt reform and opening up. But Comrade Kim Jong-il rebuffed them, declaring, "Expect no change from me." When the DPRK was threatened by the incessant moves for aggression by the US imperialists in South Korea, Comrade Kim Jong-il administered and developed in depth Songun, or Army First politics. Comrade Kim Jong-il led the work of defense upbuilding and continued the cause of Juche army building, pioneered by the great leader President Kim Il-sung, stressing the importance of the anti-imperialist military front. He led the DPRK to victory in the DPRK-US confrontation, smiting the US imperialists by carrying out 2 nuclear tests, so that the DPRK became a global nuclear power, a proud, independent socialist nuclear power of Juche. The independence and security of the DPRK was safeguarded. Thanks to this legacy bequeathed by Comrade Kim Jong-il, the DPRK was able to sit down and negotiate with the US as an equal partner. Although 11 years have passed since Comrade Kim Jong-il passed away, the vitality of his ideas shines even brighter today, and his work is carried forward by his successor, dear respected Marshal Kim Jong-un. People's Korea, which is the legacy of Comrade Kim Jong-il, is today prospering despite the extreme sanctions of the US imperialists. We join with the people of the DPRK, with KFA branches and organisations throughout the world, and Juche idea study organisations, and remembering Comrade Kim Jong-il, the great leader of the Korean people and the world people. Eternal glory to the memory of the great leader, Comrade Kim Jong-il. Thank you for listening. Okay, next we have the presentation prepared by Comrade Alan about the 105th anniversary of the birth of Madam Kim Jong-suk. If you're ready, Alan, please go ahead.
Hello everyone, with pleasure welcome everyone. I'm going to read one of my articles being published on the last issue of People's Korea Today. Madame Kim Jong-suk, model of heroine for modern women. This year, on December 24th, we will celebrate the 105th birth anniversary of Madame Kim Jong-suk, great figure in Korean history. This is opportunity to recall this extraordinary figure and show why it is so important. We live in times of the flood of the Western decadent mode of life, where the role models of heroes of everyday life are created by values far removed from such moral and social values as patriotism, dedication to others of or revolutionary spirit and strength to fight evil created by man for man, through exploitation in the capitalist system. It is in present times when the American way of life and culture, which is aggressively imposed everywhere and promotes easy and pleasant life, has long forgotten about promoting such values as dedication, devotion to the family, and patriotism with love of the homeland. Those values have been replaced by the promotion of easy and rich life and selfish and idle concern for one's own individual needs without regard for anything or anyone. All those false and worthless patterns are contradicted by the unique figure of Madame Kim Jong-suk and achievements of her glorious life. Over decades, the model of the real woman has been distorted by feminist movements. Militant feminists, brought by Western culture, promote the figure of the model woman as aggressive warrior and enemy to man. Also, who oppose everything that is in line with the old patterns and model of the traditional family and the role of woman in it. Looking at the life of the Madame Kim Jong-suk, we can learn that the greatness of a woman is created not in her combative and aggressive attitude of protesting and questioning everything in traditional patterns, but in her silent and heroic daily sacrifice for her family and patriotic devotion, which, contrary to feminist schemes, don't need publicity and fame. Her militancy is expressed to fight in the patriotic struggles, not in aggressive attitude to man as a different sex with hostility to ideal role of good wife with mother to children, with which is rather happiness than burdensome and disliked duty as Western feminist movements try to portray. Madame Kim Jong-suk was born in a poor family in country under the yoke of Japanese occupation. From the first years of her life, she experienced oppressions and worries of everyday life in that difficult time for the Korean nation. Madame Kim Jong-suk's life was short, but full of imperishable and everlasting values. In the life of Madame Kim Jong-suk, the guiding idea and principle was self-sacrifice and putting the interest of others, the interest of the family and the revolution ahead of oneself. No one knows how many sleepless nights and how many worries and tears Kim Jong-suk left on the mountain trails of the forest of guerrilla camps. In the daily life of Madame Kim Jong-suk, it was not easy to combine the responsibilities of caring for children and family with the revolutionary struggle for liberation. No one will know how many hard days Madame Kim Jong-suk, together with her child, future leader Comrade Kim Jong-il and her husband, President Kim Il-sung, had to survive in difficult situation, living in a guerrilla camp, sharing the worries and difficulties of everyday life with other guerrillas of the Revolutionary Army. She quickly distinguished herself as a high-skilled guerrilla fighter with an iron will, especially as a great militancy soldier. She has repeatedly defended the life of the great leader Comrade Kim Il-sung many times. So, the greatness of Madame Kim Jong-suk's character and achievements is not only expressed as an exemplary mother of and wife, but, but also as a combative and disciplined soldier. In many guerrilla battles against the Japanese invaders, she defended the life of her husband and the leader of the Korean Revolution, Comrade Kim Il-sung, with others comrades in bloody battles. An example of a life full of sacrifice and patriotism, life devoted to the revolution, is example of how to create new socialist man and how to instill in him new features, social features for the service of others. Those features express in a deep love of the motherland and a readiness to make any sacrifice to give one's life for the defense and service of the motherland if necessary, are cultivated and instilled in new generations of Korean young revolutionaries from the Maingyeongdae Revolutionary School and also Kangpan Sok Revolutionary School, which were recently visited twice by their Marshal Kim Jong-un. The values that the schools of young revolutionaries took over from Madame Kim Jong-suk are true communist principles, the principles of a highly educated, honest, progressive man. It is love for the socialist motherland and proletarian internationalism with sensitivity to the harm of others. It is proletarian friendship, camaraderie, humanitarianism, love of socialist work, and a readiness to sacrifice one's life for the good of the homeland. Implanting and cultivating those very qualities, those wonderful qualities, is the most important element of communist upbringing and giving a respectful recognition with tribute to the achievements of Madame Kim Jong-suk life. Madame Kim Jong-suk activities after the liberation from Japanese occupation were focused on creating a new model of woman in the socialist system of the new country and its process of transformation in building socialist society. Korean style of socialism based on the Juche idea. This is the role of fully liberated and truly valuable individual in a moderate by Juche society with full equal rights and in her glorious, not servile as a claim by bourgeois feminist canons role, the role as a great and fully of family, devoted, love mothers and first protectors of families. Active role in socialist feminist movement brought her the foundation for Korean Democratic Women's Union in November 18, 1945, where she was also very active on the international area, supported liberation of oppressed and exploited women in Asia and all on the world. Thanks to the great work and effort that Madame Kim Jong-suk made in her heroic life to contribute to the socialist construction of the DPRK, the women of Korea of Juche have great share in the implementation of extra plan commitments to improve the economic production results in their workplaces and full empowerment in political, economic and socio-political life of the country. Korean women are learning from the unparalleled example of the heroic life of Madame Kim Jong-suk enrich their own lives, which become noble and great in the sacrifice for others for the good of the whole nation. Madame Kim Jong-suk's life is an inexhaustible treasure of creative thoughts and initiatives for the fight for a better, fairer world. It is a life thoroughly imbued with the deep love and care for one's country, for other people, fervent patriotism. The life and example of Madame Kim Jong-suk teaches us how to live a deep ideological life. That is, to live the social affairs of all, only living in such matters if all thoughts are directed towards glorifying our nation even more, raising the economic and military power of our homeland ever higher, if, like Madame Kim Jong-suk, we devote all our strength to the fight for the complete victory of communism and this great idea will dominate your consciousness, then I have no doubt that we will become the same heroes as Madame Kim Jong-suk. Therefore, we should remember such heroic role models as Madame Kim Jong-suk. Her life of sacrifice and devotion to the socialist revolution alongside her family will never be forgotten and is shining precious with guidance and best example, inspiration for all women in the world. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for listening. That is finished. Sorry
Thank you very much, Alan.
if I did any mistakes in pronunciation. Sorry, I'm still not perfect my English. Sorry for that.
Well,
I hope there wasn't something.
it was a very good and profound presentation. A version of the presentation is already published in the KFA UK magazine, People's Career Today, and we will also be publishing it online. Now I see Comrade Constantine, General Secretary of KFA Greece, is joining the meeting. We're happy to have comrades from KFA Greece here, and if you would like to speak in a minute, Comrade Constantine, please do so. I would just ask if it's all right to record your speech, because we had a request to record as much as meeting as possible and put it on YouTube, as a couple of people wanted to be here tonight but couldn't. So is it all right to record your speech as well?
Yes, I'm aware of the request that you mentioned, and I'm perfectly fine with recording it.
Okay. Well, go ahead, please.
Yes, before that, I would like to mention that the comrades from KFA Bulgaria have raised their hands. So maybe they want to say something.
Yes, okay. Comrades from KFA Bulgaria, do you wish to speak?
Maybe they have raised their hands not on purpose.
Yes, I think so. Okay, if you'd like to go ahead.
Yes, of course. Just allow me to mention that your voice is cracking again.
No.
All right. I am ready to start the recording whenever you want. Okay. Dear comrades, friends, and allies, this year is coming to a close, marking the end of another year of struggle and fighting under imperialist arms and devious schemes against the oppressed people of the world. The DPRK, in particular, is struggling under immense pressure because of its socialist construction, but as we already know and see, with our own bare eyes, it manages to not only negate the pitiful attacks of the imperialists against it, but also constantly improve its own level, make the lives of the people better, and improve its defensive arsenal, as was evidenced most notably with the Hwasong 17 ICBM this year. We remember this year's achievements, such as the mass successful construction efforts, the military improvements, and the strengthening and further solidification of socialism in Juche, Korea, and many others that will carry their legacy on to the next year and all the years to come. We stand with the Korean people in their struggle and admire and promote their success, as is our role and always has been. And let us not forget the glorious victory against COVID-19, especially when we take into consideration the fallacy that is our own country's quote unquote effort against COVID-19. December is a very important month for the DPRK, as we all remember the passing of Comrade Chairman Kim Jong-il, a paramount leader of world history, always standing by the people, aiding them, guiding them, inspecting the various protection units in the country, developing the Korean People's Army, and managing to release such a pleasant, friendly aura that the Korean people remember so fondly, even 11 years after his passing. We pay respect to Comrade Kim Jong-il for carrying through the road to revolution and upholding the Juche and Songun banners with everlasting passion and no signs of stagnation, as he developed the Juche and especially Songun theory, produced various other theoretical works of great import, and very notably carried on with the people against the dire decade of the 90s, where the entire socialist bloc was under tremendous fire, with most of it submitting. But the DPRK enforced its revolutionary spirit and defied the imperialists' false sense of victory, all thanks to the Korean people and Comrade Kim Jong-il's guidance and everlasting work. It was in December too that Comrade Kim Jong-suk was born, or well, a woman of very notable and strong revolutionary pathos who fought along Comrade President Kim Il-sung, in conjunction to being an ideal motherly figure to Kim Jong-il, where she, along with her husband, raised a boy that would grow up to be the leader we all know and remember today. Her influence to the revolutionary and anti-Japanese struggle should not be undermined, as she fought as much as any other man would and lived through the liberation of her country, finally seeing her efforts bear fruit, even if she unfortunately didn't live long enough to see what her son would grow up to be. We pay our respects to Comrade Kim Jong-suk and honor her work by remembering her fondly and promoting the achievements of her son and hers as well that we also will never forget. One last mention that I would like to make is that it was in December that we saw the amendment of the current socialist constitution that we know of today. A constitution unlike our own fabricated false booklets that hold little connection to reality. The socialist constitution of the DPRK provides the guidelines of a healthy socialist society and more than anything else serves the people first and foremost, which is evidenced by the very articles written within it, but also the way that they are indeed applied in reality, again, unlike our own constitutions that only serve as a false image of democratic power to the people, but we are no fools. And never have been. We know very well that the laws are reserved for some and manipulated by others in our societies. They serve not the people, but the capital. Let us uphold the constitution of the DPRK, the socialist constitution of the DPRK, as a shining example of how any society would have to be constructed in order for humanity to truly proceed forward in history and not backwards. Let us close this year with proper respects given, honors paid, and let us celebrate this year's successes and carry them forward in our hearts for the next prosperous years to come, always supporting and helping the DPRK in its struggle to make the people's lives as ideal as possible. Long live the Korean people, long live Chairman Kim Jong-il, and long live Comrade Kim Jong-suk. Manse.
Mansei. Thank you for an extremely good speech, comrade. That was very good, very inspiring. And recording now.